Is it possible to improve your persuasion and communication skills overnight? Let's talk about that.
Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show.
Well, happy Wednesday there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, and thank you for joining us on, of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you live from our Stratus IP studios here in lovely Eastern Indiana. Don't let cyber attacks or outdated business technology put your company at risk. Learn more at briannicholsshow.com/Stratus IP. Stratus IP, business technology simplified. So let's talk about this. Is it possible to, in fact, instantly improve your persuasion and communication skills overnight? Well, let's talk about that. It's a question often asked by politicians, business leaders, psychologists, heck, just pretty much about anyone who wants to be successful in life. And here's the reality, folks. The answer, it's not as simple as some would like to make it to be. So today, I'm going to go through and give you 5 ways you can go ahead and improve your persuasion and communication skills. Yes, like I said, overnight. But first, we're going to go ahead and give a shout out to today's sponsor, and that is the amazing team over at the Libertarian Party of Illinois. Folks, if you are up, in fact, in the great state of Illinois, we'll head to lpillinois.org and join not just the third party in the United States, but the third best party in the United States. The mission of the Libertarian Party of Illinois is to elect libertarians to public office and to move public policy in a libertarian direction. The LP of Illinois believes that everyone owns themselves and that no bureaucrat knows better than what you need or want. When peaceful people engage in voluntary cooperation, the most number of people are served. And if you agree, help us restore liberty up in Illinois at lpillinois.org and bring back peace and liberty in our lifetimes. One more time, lpillinois.org. All right, folks, so let's go on to today's episode. A little bit shorter of an episode is, again, just you and me. And yes, we're going to go through the 5 steps you can instantly use to improve your persuasion and communication skills. Starting with number 1, it's simple. Be authentic. It's important to be yourself, not someone else. If you're trying to be someone else, people will see right through it. They'll know that you're not being genuine and they won't trust you as a result. Authenticity is key to being a successful communicator. People want to know that you're being real, not just trying to sell them something. So if they sense that you're trying to just sell something, then they'll be less likely to trust you and less likely to trust what you say when you speak. Number 2, be empathetic. We've talked about this many a time. Being empathetic means that you are able to do what? Put yourself in other people's shoes. By empathizing with others, you gain a clearer understanding of what other people are feeling. You can use this knowledge of their feelings and emotions as a way of connecting with them on an emotional level. This will help make them more receptive to your message because they'll feel that you understand exactly where they're coming from and why they believe what they do. Number 3, be confident. When you're confident in yourself, other people will be more likely to trust you and listen to what you have to say. Confidence is often confused with arrogance, but there is a huge difference between the two. Just ask Trump. Arrogance suggests that you think you're better than other people and that they should listen to you and what you have to say because of your status and your position. Confidence, on the other hand, isn't a belief, or is rather a belief in yourself and in your abilities. You don't need to be arrogant to have confidence, but it's also not a bad thing if you are. Just make sure that when you're talking with people, they don't feel like you're trying to put them down or belittle their opinions, even if they happen to be a little different. Number 4, in fact, be different. Everyone wants to be unique, but not many people know what to do. There are a lot of ways to stand out in the crowd, and usually it's something like a hobby or an interest that you have that most people don't, and you can usually do something like, let's say, dress differently than everyone else, just something quirky in your personality trait that makes other people laugh. Whatever it is, it's worth learning how to be different as it will help you stand out from the crowd and make you more memorable in people's minds. And number 5, be passionate. If you are passionate about something, it shows. It's hard, if not impossible, to fake. People can see right through someone pretending to be interested in what they have to say, and they will quickly figure out that you're not being genuine in what you're saying and what you're talking about. And if you're in fact passionate about something, it will show. It's contagious. People will want to be around you because folks want to be around those who are passionate, because Passion is infectious and it makes other people feel alive. So that's my 5 tips I would say to implement right now to overnight instantly improve your persuasion and communication skills. What do you think? Do you have any persuasion or communication skills tips that you would like to share? Well, if so, go ahead, leave me a comment below if you're joining us here on YouTube, Rumble, or on Odyssey. And if you're joining us on the podcast version of the show, where I know 90+% of you are joining us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, well, do me a favor, go to briannicholsshow.com, hit the little email button and send me an email. Let me know. Or heck, go ahead, leave us a 5-star rating and review. And in your comment, tell us your tips that you bring to the table. Either way, share your information with the world. That's how we get better. And with that being said, share today's episode. And when you do that, go ahead, tag yours truly at B Nichols Liberty. Otherwise, folks, did you check yesterday's awesome episode where we sat down with Brian Rivera, Brian with a Y, and we talked about what is it actually required to win elections? Believe it or not, it's a lot more than you think than just going out, shaking hands, kissing babies, and smiling and waving. There's a lot more that you don't see behind the scenes. Brian talks about that and more, so I'll include that if you're joining us here on the YouTube version right here below. Otherwise, again, if you're joining us on the podcast version of the show, go to briannicholsshow.com where you can find yesterday's episode, today's episode, plus all 633 other episodes of the Brian Nichols Show. I know, no wonder I'm so tired. I don't have any gray hair because they're all gone, as you can probably see. And with that being said, of course, guys, I really have to emphasize, this is not something that we do simply out of the goodness of our heart. Yes, we do have to pay the bills. So if you enjoy what you're getting here at the Brian Nichols Show, there's a couple different things you can do. Number one, you can support the program over on our Patreon, become a recurring listener and supporter, $5 a month, or you can go ahead and do a one-time PayPal donation over there, briannicholsshow.com/support. That's option A. Option B, and this is really for something I've been hearing more and more from folks who've been on my show, specifically in the world of candidates and folks who are running electoral organizations across the country, both in the GOP and the LP. We need help getting our local candidates and our state candidates up to snuff. And frankly, they don't have the tens of thousands of dollars that consultants usually cost. If only there was an alternative, if only there was a resource out there. Well, I said, heck, I'm going to make that resource. So we started Candidate School 101 here over at the Brian Nichols Show. So if you are a candidate who is already tossed their hat into the ring for 2023 and beyond, or you're thinking about it and you're trying to figure out, what do I need to do to resonate with my voters? What do I have to talk about? How do I fundraise? All these basic stuff, things that candidates usually don't think about before they actually dip their toe into the water. We're going to talk about that. And it's all for less than $10 a month over at our Candidate School. So if you want to learn more, link in the show notes. Go ahead and check that out. Other than that, folks, that's all I have for you. Shorter episode today. Tomorrow, we have another fun-filled episode, of course. And by the way, it's going to be a little bit different here. This Saturday, I'm actually recording 2 episodes with our guests who have a little bit different time zones. One guest, I think, is over in Europe. The other guest is out in California with scheduling conflicts. So, yeah, we're working with time zones. So don't worry, a little bit more of our actual traditional interviews that you're used to as we go into next week. But otherwise, guys, thank you for joining us on today's episode. By the way, questions, comments, concerns for the show, I'd like to hear about it. Email me, brian@briannicholsshow.com. That's all I have for you, folks. Thank you for joining us here on today's episode. With that being said, it's Brian Nichols signing off here on The Brian Nichols Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
For listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.